Hello everyone and welcome to an overview of my latest thrifting adventures. It has been a good long while since I've had some cheap vintage items to show you because everything has been closed. And where I live, most things still are closed, so only about 40% of my local charity shops have reopened. But I have started to find some good little vintage bits. So I've got some good 1950s and 60s vintage clothes which I've picked up. I'm also going to show you bits that I bought off eBay whilst everything was closed, but I didn't get very much. But I'm just going to start with a couple of random homewares that I bought because when everything reopened I just ran in and started grabbing stuff and ended up with a mishmash of everything. So let's get started. So one of the first things I bought was a bit random, and it is this Art Nouveau, kind of verging on Art Deco teapot stand, which is pretty random, but I just like the shape and thought it would be nice to put like plants or anything to stand on my sideboard, just as like a pretty little stand. It is actually copper and it was made, it's all marked and things, it's made about 1914 out of solid copper. It's a bit tarnished, so I'll try and clean it up so you can see the true colour of it, but I just really liked the shape, and it was only £2, which for a bit of solid antique copper is pretty good going. So that was one of the first things I picked up. That was Salvation Army. Whilst I was there, I also picked up some random bits of fabric. First of all, I got this. This was a bedspread. It's not so much anymore because I've already cut it all up. But as soon as I saw this, I knew exactly what dress I wanted to make. I haven't quite finished it yet, but hopefully you can get the picture of what I'm doing with it, what I'm going for. I've made this from a 1980s vintage Vogue pattern, and it was actually really easy to put together. But like I said, there's just a few more little bits I've got to do. And there's enough fabric there that I could probably make it 2 more times over. And that bit of fabric was only £1. So always, if you're into dressmaking things, look at the old bedspreads and things in charity shops because it's way cheaper than getting fabric from the fabric store. I did also get some blue velvet curtains, like this. Again, these were only £1, which is really why I grabbed them. I have no idea what I'm going to make from them, but I'm fairly certain last winter there was something that I wanted to make out of blue velvet and I couldn't find any. So when I remember, I now have the fabric ready to go and get it made. But again, those were just £1, so I just grabbed them to add to my little stash of fabric for when I'm ready. So on to the clothes, and like I say, most places are still closed, so I haven't got too many to show you. First off are 2 dresses which I bought off of eBay whilst everything was closed. I had a vision this year that this year's summer I'll be floating around in maxi dresses in fields and parks, and it was going to be beautiful. That hasn't happened for this summer so far, but I still had a fixation with looking at lots and lots of maxi dresses online. So these are the ones that I bought. First up we have one which is by Horrockses of England, who, if you don't know, were a really great company, and they still run to some degree here in England, mainly during the 1950s, and they specialised in printed cotton, and they did some amazing prints over the years. This is a slightly unusual one, this is a bit later, from the sort of early 1960s I would say, and it's a very beautiful print with a lovely sort of blue and grey colour palette with a big puff sleeves and a nice long skirt. It fits me perfectly, which is always great when you buy something off eBay and can't actually sort of hold it up and see. It is a little bit short for me, it stops kind of awkwardly at the feet instead of hitting the ground, but otherwise perfect fit. This one was one of the more expensive dresses that I've bought recently. It was £40. Horrockses prices seem to have like tanked. There was a time where you literally couldn't get a Horrockses dress for less than £200, and they seem to have gone down a lot. I think everybody's buying 70s vintage instead of as much 1950s. So if you are a 1950s enthusiast, this might be a good time to go out there and look at some of those bigger brands because the prices do seem a lot lower than they used to be. But anyway, that's my nice first maxi dress. I then got another one which is 1970s and a very different colour palette. It's black with pinkish colours. This one, I don't know the brand of, it does have a label but it's not branded at all, it's just got those cotton and things. And this one has a really nice full skirt, and this one was I think about £14. I did also buy another one but it didn't fit me, so I've already sold that one on. But these two have just been, for a while I've been floating around in my flat alone, trying to imagine I'm living out my summertime field roaming dreams, whilst actually just kind of being sat here. Right, now on to the important charity shop clothing, and one of my favourite charity shops reopened yesterday. I walked in and found one of the best vintage finds I've found in a very long time. They actually had quite a lot of good 1950s and 60s vintage. There was another dress that I thought about buying, but it was like an office one, and I've actually been told that I'm never going back to the office. Our company is staying home working, so I kind of figured I'll leave that one for somebody else, which shows personal growth, I'd like to add, because I didn't just hoard all the good vintage for myself. I thought, logically, you're not going to wear it, nobody's going to see it, leave it for somebody else. So, congratulate me for that growth. What I did buy is, first of all, I bought this nice 1960s Dorothy Perkins dress. Dorothy Perkins is still going. I know they're here in the UK, I don't know if they're international, but they're a brand that you still find on the high street now. But they've been going, I think, since the early 1900s, and I'm going to say this one is from probably the early 1960s. It's really nice sunset colours, and it's a really good length, just above the knee, so it's not in that period of super short 1960s dresses or the quite long 1950s. It's quite a nice wearable length. And this one was just £4. It does have a couple of seams that just need a couple of stitches in, but for £4 I will take any vintage, no matter what condition it is in, because I like to fix them up. So it's quite a nice wearable little cotton sundress, and again, this is a very summery one. Hopefully the heat wave comes back so I can get to wear all these nice summery things, because the next thing I bought is perfect vintage summer wear. I need to go to a beach, I need to be brown and tanned, not that that happens very often, but it is perfect. What I've got is this lovely 1950s original playsuit swimsuit set. I've been dreaming of finding one of these with the matching skirt. This one sadly did not have a skirt. I don't know if it did and somebody had already been to the charity shop and bought it, or if it had been lost over the years, but unfortunately it was not there. But I'm so happy to have the little play set at least. And I do also have the matching bolero. So I do have part of the set, and I cannot wait to be on a beach so I can wear it in all its glory. I was so convinced that it would not fit. It had been marked as an extra small by the charity shop, which would not fit me at all. But it's not, it fits perfectly. Almost like the waist hips are absolutely, could have been made for me, so I was so happy when it actually fitted, because I was so convinced it wouldn't. But it is just the most 1950s stereotypical little beachwear outfit you can imagine. If you Google 1950s beachwear or swimwear, you will see things exactly like this. It was £10 for the romper play suit, and then an extra £3 for the matching bolero. They were selling them separately, just so I'm a little bit, I hope nobody bought the skirt separately. But I might make a skirt that matches, I'm not sure. I haven't decided if I just leave it as a little play suit. It's by a brand called Deelow, who I've never heard of, and I couldn't find much about them online. But it's really good quality, and it's really like high fashion for that period, so there must have been a decent brand, maybe just a really short-lived one. But that is a really good bit of vintage to find, so I'm so happy with it. But that is everything that I found since my charity shop started to reopen. Hopefully a few more will open over the next few weeks. Out of the two charity shops which I consider my favourite, one is still closed. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to get back up and open soon, because I found loads of great vintage there. So hopefully they're able to reopen, and yeah, I'm really excited that everything is starting to open up again and I can go rummaging. Like I say, I don't have to go to the office anymore. I literally stay in this room for my entire life. So anything that I find, I do kind of think it's such a shame nobody's going to see it. Because yeah, not going to the office, I don't have a social life. So that's a bit of a shame, but I do love the thrill of the hunt. Going to these charity shops, finding great vintage at much more affordable prices than you get in vintage stores. So please, if you are out there, go out and support your local charity shops. You can find great vintage pieces much cheaper than you can get them anywhere else. And it's just good for supporting your local economy and good causes. So get out there and get hunting and let me know if you find anything good. I will be back as soon as I've found lots more lovely vintage bits to show you. But hopefully you enjoyed the bits that I found, and let me know your thoughts down below if there's anything you really love or if anything you think looks terrible on me. But anyway, that's it for this week, guys. So I will see you hopefully next time I have a haul to show you. But have a great week wherever you are, and obviously stay safe, etc. Bye guys!